Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon to vote for the character you want to see next, and like and subscribe for more PK fun next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Ness from Earthbound, but also from Smash Brothers. Mostly from Smash Brothers, honestly, he's been in way more Smash Brothers games than Earthbound games. Still, we're gonna focus on the Earthbound version, and the Smash version. Maybe I can just smash them together. Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need the PK powers from Earthbound, which are actually totally different from our second goal, the PK powers from Smash. There's so little overlap, which is weird because Ness doesn't really have a similar moveset to anyone in the original Smash. Like, he's a totally unique character, but his abilities aren't tied to his appearance from his own game. They're pulled from other characters in the game. Weird. Finally, we'll hit things with a bat. If you need a backup option, hitting things with a big stick is always pretty great. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multi-classing minimums in mind. Charisma will be number 1. You're a nice kid with a lot of friends, and also amazing magical powers. Dexterity next. Ness keeps it pretty light. It's how he's so floaty. Wisdom after that, you need to be able to read how your team is feeling and have the senses to dodge incoming fire. Follow that up with intelligence. A little PK knowledge never hurt anyone. Well, it won't hurt you. Constitution is a bit low. The downside to being floaty is that you tend to float into the blast zone and will dump strength. Your back throw isn't strong because of your arms, it's that sweet, sweet telekinesis. Ness is a human, but he's short, so we'll go custom lineage. With that, you can basically make a variant human that's small in size. You also get a feat like telekinetic, which lets you add 1 to a score, like charisma. You get the mage hand cantrip to move objects with your mind that weigh 10 pounds or less, and you can shove creatures 5 feet as a bonus action if they fail a strength save against your charisma casting DC. It'll be the same as our spell casting DC later. Bump your charisma even higher with those 2 free points, take insight for your skill of choice, and build your own background for perception and acrobatics, helping you get those super fun backflips off. We'll kick things off as a sorcerer, giving you 2 skills from the sorcerer list, like Arcana and Persuasion. Those are just the ones I want. Okay. For your sorceress origin, Aberrant Mind is great for little psychic kids, giving you telepathic speech to talk to a creature you can choose with your brain. Always good to stay in contact with your friends. For your cantrips, Firebolt is some lovely spammable PK fire, letting you make a ranged spell attack that deals 1d10 fire damage. Lightning Lure will cover PK Thunder, forcing a strength saving throw on a creature and pulling them 10 feet closer to you if they fail, dealing a d8 of lightning damage if they end their turn within 5 feet of you. The range is 15 feet, so it should deal the damage, just don't use Distant Spell when we get that later. Shocking Grasp is another lightning cantrip option. It's a melee spell attack that deals 1d8 lightning damage and prevents the target from taking reactions. I don't like this as much for PK Thunder since it's melee, but maybe we'll get something to make it more useful in a brawl later. Light lets you see in the dark with your bad custom lineage eyes in case you and the squad need to walk through a cave. For your first level spells, Shield is a pretty good PK shield, adding 5 to your AC as a reaction, and Sleep is a great PK hypnosis option, putting 5d8 worth of HP to sleep instantly, with the lowest HP creature falling asleep first and moving up from there. It starts off great at low levels, but higher level enemies can resist it pretty easily. Second level sorcerers get a Font of Magic with sorcery points you can use to recover spell slots for now and do cooler stuff with later. For this level spell, Thunderwave will cover our PK Rockin', forcing a Constitution saving throw on creatures in a 15-foot cube in front of you and dealing 2d8 thunder damage to those that fail and pushing them back 10 feet, half damage and no pushing if they succeed. Third level sorcerers can learn METAMAGIC, letting you augment the spells you cast with sorcery points. Distant Spell doubles the range of a spell and can turn touch range spells into spells with a 30-foot range. Now Shocking Grasp can go 30 feet and becomes a better ranged lightning option than Lightning Lure, especially since it prevents reactions, so you can stop someone from getting an opportunity attack on an ally 30 feet away. Empowered Spell lets you reroll a number of damage die equal to your charisma modifier, so your PK fire will deal as much damage as possible. Speaking of, Scorching Ray lets you really spam that PK fire like a true Ness main, shooting 3 ranged spell attacks that deal 2d6 fire damage each in a single action. You can fire them at one creature or multiple, but I prefer 1v1 smash, timed mode, not stock mode. I'm a sicko. 4th level sorcerers get an ability score improvement or feat. The Gift of the Metallic Dragon gives you the Cure Wounds spell, letting you heal 1d8 plus your charisma modifier to a creature you touch, or with Distant Spell to a creature 30 feet away. It just helps getting that PK life up. You also get Protective Wings, letting you protect yourself or a creature within 5 feet of you, adding your proficiency bonus to their AC against 1 attack roll a number of times per long rest equal to your proficiency bonus. It's not wings in Earthbound, but it lets Ness share some of his shield in D&D, so I'm gonna take it. For this level spell, Hold Person paralyzes a humanoid humanoid that fails a wisdom saving throw, locking them in place for some PK fire, or something else, or PK fire. 5th level sorcerers can learn 3rd level spells. Lightning bolt forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 100-foot line, dealing 8d6 lightning damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed. Obviously, the ones that succeed just got hit by the PK Thunder tail. 6th level aberrant mind sorcerers get psychic defenses, giving you resistance to psychic damage, and you have advantage on saves against being charmed or frightened. Should help you if you end up fighting Mewtwo. Lots of floaty people in that fight. For this level spell, Fireball should escalate the PK fire fun, creating a 20-foot radius of fire and forcing a dexterity saving throw on creatures inside, dealing 8d6 fire damage to those that fail. Maybe it's a little too big, but I'm not missing an opportunity to put Fireball on a spell list. Sorry, not sorry. 7th level sorcerers can learn 4th level spells, but I don't need any, so instead just grab Jump to triple your jump distance for a minute. With your bad strength, those jumps were not doing Ness's flips justice. This should make up for it, and it does it with magic. There's some telekinetic shenanigans going on with Ness's jumps for sure. 8th level sorcerers get another ability score improvement, cap off your charisma for maximum PK power. For this level spell, Absorb Elements lets you give yourself resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage as a reaction, and add a d6 of that damage to one attack next round. Unfortunately, we can't get a PK magnet that would actually heal you, but this is almost as good. Not really, at all, but it's not bad. 9th level sorcerers can learn 5th level spells, and aberrant mind sorcerers learn telekinesis for free, letting you lift objects weighing 1,000 pounds or less with your mind, or creatures of huge or smaller. If you choose a creature, they make a strength saving throw against your spell DC to resist, otherwise you get to move them 30 feet, and another 30 feet per round after that, but not out of the spell's 60-foot range, except you could double that range with Distant Spell. Unlike Levitate, creatures falling from that height take full falling damage, so you can send someone 120 feet in the air, then drop them for 12d6 falling damage. It will take 4 rounds to send them that high, but it's not like they can do anything during their turns. For your spell of choice, Immolation lets you force a dexterity saving throw on a creature, dealing 8d6 fire damage to those that fail, half damage if they succeed. They take another 4d6 fire damage every turn until they can pass the save, and if it drops them to 0 HP, they turn to ash. It's kind of cruel, but it's also the most accurate to how the PK fire works for Ness. The other options were a little more like Lucas PK fire. 10th level sorcerers get another metamagic option. Quickened Spell lets you cast a spell as a bonus action that normally takes an action. Fun combo with telekinesis, you could grab someone with a bonus action and use your action, since that would come out after, to push them another 30 feet. It's why Ness's back throw is so strong. For this level spell, Hold Monster is like Hold Person without the humanoid restriction, so Bowser and Ridley can catch that sweet PK paralysis as well. 11th level sorcerers can learn 6th level spells. Chain Lightning forces a dexterity saving throw on a creature and 3 creatures within 30 feet of that creature, dealing 10d8 lightning damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed. Maybe it's a little too strong for PK Thunder, but I'm not telling anyone if you don't. 12th level sorcerers get another ability score improvement. Start working on your dexterity so we can eventually hit harder with a baseball bat. You can get the baseball bat earlier at home. I just think the PK abilities are more interesting to get first. Speaking of, 13th level sorcerers can grab the Earthbound version of PK Flash, Prismatic Spray, forcing a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot cone, dealing a random effect to those that fail, determined by a d8. For each creature, you roll the d8 separately. On a 1, they take 10d6 fire damage, 2 is 10d6 acid damage, 3 is 10d6 lightning damage, 4 is 10d6 poison damage, 5 is 10d6 cold damage, 6 restrains the creature and makes them roll a constitution saving throw on their turns. If they fail 3 times before they succeed 3 times, they're permanently turned to stone. On a 7, they're blinded and have to make a wisdom saving throw on your next turn. If they fail, they're sent to another plane determined by the DM, and on an 8, they get hit with 2 effects. It's a whole bunch of random light energy. Pray for the 8s and mess up a huge area of baddies. 14th level aberrant mind sorcerers get Revelation in the Flesh, letting you spend a sorcery point as a bonus action for a 10-minute buff. You can choose any of the following 4 and spend up to 4 sorcery points to do all 4 if you like. One option lets you see invisible creatures within 60 feet of you. One of them gives you a flying speed equal to your walking speed, one gives you a swimming speed that's double your walking speed and a set of gills, and one lets you turn into goop to creep through the narrowest crack or walk on the narrowest rail. Obviously, I'm here to become the magical Mr. Nestopheles, though the flying speed is particularly useful with telekinesis. Since the range of telekinesis is determined by your position, this lets you fly up with your movement and keep pushing the enemy higher and higher with your action. Not something Ness does, but I think it's funny. 15th level sorcerers can learn the Smash version of PK Flash, Sunburst, forcing a constitution saving throw on creatures in a 60-foot radius sphere, dealing 12d6 radiant damage and blinding a creature if they fail, half damage and no blinding if they succeed. It uses an 8th level spell slot, so don't expect to land it all that often, but when you do land it, you're gonna feel pretty rad. 16th level sorcerers get our last ability score improvement. I promise we'll get the baseball bat soon. Get your dexterity up to +4 at least. It's not gonna hit as hard as the psychic powers, but it shouldn't. It's sporting equipment. First though, we need to hit 17th level of sorcerer for PK Star Storm, also known as Meteor Swarm, which forces a dexterity saving throw on creatures in 4 40-foot radius spheres, dealing 20d6 fire and 20d6 bludgeoning damage to those that fail, half as much to those that succeed. Hey, this was Sans' capstone. Wait, are Sans and Ness similar characters? That's just a hypothesis though. A game hypothesis! I'm so sorry, not for that joke, but because we haven't multi-classed yet. First level monks get martial arts, letting you make unarmed attacks with your dexterity modifier that deal 1d4 damage, and you can make one with a bonus action after you make one with your action, or when you make an attack with a monk weapon on your action. Monk weapons are any simple melee weapons without the heavy or two-handed property, like a quarterstaff, and you can use your dexterity instead of strength. Ness has little baby arms because he's a baby, but he still hits pretty hard with a baseball bat, so monk weapon, quarterstaff, boom, baseball bat. You also get unarmored defense, making your AC 10 plus your dexterity and wisdom modifier while you're not wearing armor, a little boost from 14 to 15. Still not great. Second level monks get key points, which are pretty great since you can spend them to do cool kid stuff like Step of the Wind, letting you dash or disengage with a bonus action, and doubled jump distance, sextupled jump distance with the jump spell. That's a floaty jumper. But you can fly, so don't do that. Patient defense lets you dodge as a bonus action. Technically, every Smash character should have this. Flurry of blows lets you make 2 unarmed attacks instead of 1 with your action for some down tilts that never end, but your PK powers are better. Thankfully, you also get unarmored movement here, giving you a 10-foot speed boost while you're not wearing armor, which would also boost your flying speed from Aberrant Mind. That's one floaty jump. Our capstone is the third level of monk for deflect missiles, letting you reduce the damage from incoming ranged attacks by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier and monk level, and even send that ammo back with a key point if you drop it to 0. Psi Magnet can't absorb physical attacks, but that's what the baseball bat's for. You can also choose a monastic tradition, might as well go for Astral Self to use Arms of the Astral Self. That'll turn your unarmed attacks into force damage for 10 minutes, get those little flashies on the punch. It also adds 5 feet to the reach, so you don't have to be right next to someone to hit. That's good. You're squishy. Let's talk about that. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you can deal massive damage. Meteor Swarm hits harder than just about any other spell in the game, in a huge area. Sunburst, Chain Lightning, and Fireball are also fantastic lower level options. You can also control enemy position with spells like Hold Person, Monster, Telekinesis, and a free shove once per turn from the telekinetic feat. Finally, those late aberrant abilities make you super mobile with a flying speed and a swimming speed whenever you need them to float where you need to go. For weaknesses, you're gonna float, like the Pennywise way, because you have 80 HP depending on how you rolled. Your AC is also bad, around 15 with unarmored defense, though I suppose you could push it to 20 with the shield spell. And there isn't really a third issue, but oh my god, that first one is bad. Thankfully, you compensate with massive PK power. Spam PK fire, use the back throw, or use some of the abilities from your original game. Just don't be too envious of thicker enemies, or a porky antagonist could make you cease to exist. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Join the Patreon to vote for the character you want to see next, and sub to Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.